Hello and welcome everyone to today's Ask the Expert session about email personalization in QuickSight. Businesses today consider data as an asset and apply analytics and AI ML capabilities to create insights using that data to drive business outcomes. And these business outcomes are typically, in some combinations are about reducing operating costs, creating new business models, reimagining customer experiences, or creating personalized service or content for their customers. So in today's session, we'll focus on one such topic as how you can use QuickSight to send out personalized content to end users. And these end users can be internally within your organization or your external customers. My name is Deepak Singh, and I'm QuickSight Solutions Architect at AWS. And let's let's look at the agenda for today's topic. So today's topic, sending out email personalized content using QuickSight, we'll walk through a couple of key consideration and challenges that you need to consider when you're sending out personalized content. We'll do a quick look at what are some of the email reporting basics. We'll do a demo on how can you achieve email personalization in QuickSight. We'll do a QA, and then we'll wrap up with some resources link that you can use as a reference. So we all have created many dashboards. This is one such sample dashboard that provides sales overview. Now, the two personas that we will be talking today are John and Christy. So John is part of a global sales team, and he has access to all the regions in the organization, which are Americas, EMEA, Asia Pac, and Japan. He also has access to sales informations across business segments such as enterprise, strategic, and SMB. Whereas Kirsty, she belongs to Asia Pac Japan team, and she has access to SMB and strategic segments sales information only. Now, their ask is when they receive a personal content via email or when they log in to a dashboard, they want to be able to see only sales information that they're responsible for. So in case of John, even though he's part of a global sales team and can access all the data, he only wants to receive information for America's enterprise segment because that's what he's responsible for. So he wants to receive personalized content, America's enterprise segment. Whereas Christy, she is personally responsible for Asia Pac, Japan SMB segment. So when she logs into the dashboard or when she receives the email content, she wants to be able to see data um, for those for that region and that segment, which is Asia Pac, Japan, and SMB. Now they have access to more data, but they want to receive only the preferred data as they receive the emails. So with our use case set and the requirements defined, let's look at the challenges that we need to consider before we can send out and set up the personalized email content. So as you can see in the use case, there were two key requirements that were defined. One of them was data security. So in case of John, he sits on a global sales team, so he has access to all the sales data across regions, across segments. In case of Christy, she belongs to Asia Pac Japan team and can see only SMB and strategic segment sales data. So we want to make sure that when the email personalized content is going to Christy, accidentally she doesn't get to see the Americas or EMEA data. And the second personal preference requirement was John wants to receive emails only for America's enterprise segment. So we want to be able to meet that personal preference that he has to receive the sales information. And same for Christy. She wants to receive the content only for Asia Pac Japan SMB segment. So these two are core considerations when you are about to send out emails. You want to make sure that security that you have set up on your dashboard is not bypassed because of your email content that is being sent out. Okay, so with that said, let's look into what are some of the basics you need to consider before you can even ready to send out the emails. For users that need to receive the emails, they need to be QuickSight subscribed active users. Now, what does that mean? As an admin, you want to make sure that you have sent out registration emails to the users. Users have, clicked on the registration link and went through the process of creating their user credentials and logging into QuickSight. That makes them an active users. Now, you want to share the sales dashboards with your users when you want to send them personalized content. It's same to like sharing a dashboard with a user if you want them to have access to it. So in this case, both John and Christy needs to be shared the sales overview dashboard with them. And the third point to keep in consideration is, many times you send out the email reports for your end users, but end users do have choice of subscribing and unsubscribing email reports. So in this case, if someday John decides that he only wants to access that content using dashboards and not want to receive the email, he is able to unsubscribe from the receiving emails and stop receiving those emails going forward. And if he changes his mind, he can come back and subscribe to that email receiving content again. Okay. So with the basics laid out and the challenges defined, let's dive into the demo itself, see how we can help achieve this email personalization content send out to John and Christy. So what I have set up here is, as part of this setup, I have created 3 different data sets. SAS sales.csv is your source data that has the content for sales information. SAS sales RLS dataset is the dataset that will be used to apply security on your source data. And then SAS sales email personalization dataset is the dataset that holds the preferences for John and Christy. So let's quickly look at the SAS sales RLS data. So this is my SAS sales RLS security dataset where I have listed John and Christy as users. And as you can see, John has And as you can see, John has access to all the regions and all 3 segments. Whereas Chrissy is set up such that she has access to Asia Pac Japan region for SMB and strategic segments. So this is their security setup. And we want to make sure that when we send out the emails, their data content does not violate these 2 rules. Okay, now let's look up the other data set that we have set up for email personalization. Here I have set up John and Christy. John's preference is when the email is sent out to him, he receives the Americas data for enterprise segment only. Whereas Christy's preference is she wants to receive Asia Pac Japan sales information for SMB segments only. Yep. So going back to our data sets on the SaaS sales data, I have already applied the RLS. So how to apply the RLS? You can come here on the SaaS sales data, click on row level security, and you can see I've applied a user-based rules, and that rules includes the SaaS sales RLS dataset to secure the data. Okay. Now with the security applied, let's see how can we apply the personalization preferences on the dashboard that I have created using SaaS sales data. So I will head over to analysis. Analysis in consideration here is sales overview. Now, as you can see, I have logged in as an admin user. And for now, this dashboard is showing me data for all users, all segments, all regions. If you want, you can apply filters, but by default, it shows you data for all of them. I'll switch it back to select all. Right? And this is the dashboard we have. As we go through, we got the end of the dashboard. Okay, so the steps to apply the email personalization data is we need to create parameters. So I'll go here to the parameter section. The three parameters that I am considering for email personalizations are username, region, and segment. So if you look at the email personalization preference data, I have email ID for each of the users. I have their names, as these names are same as how they're set up in QuickSight, and then the segment and region values. So I want to make sure when I set up the parameters for username, segment, and region, for a given user, I'm able to pick up the specific values for segments and that region. So let's head over to these parameters. Username, I'll set up that one first. So I'm going to go edit the username parameter. And the way to achieve the personal preferences for email content is by setting up a dynamic defaults for a parameter. So I'll set up a dynamic defaults. I need to set up a data set that stores the personalized preferences for user. In my case, it's SaaS sales email personalization version 1. Username column is the one that will help you identify for which user this value needs to be picked. And the value that you'll be selecting for that user in case of username parameter is the username. So now I'll hit apply and update the parameter. Now that parameter has the dynamic default value set, and the moment I set the dynamic default value, you can see here, I can see the greeting. As I've logged in as an admin user, it knows that, hello, admin, this is your personalized sales summary. But I haven't set up the personalization values for segment and region yet, so we still see all as a selection for those two parameters. So let's go ahead and set up region. I'll set the dynamic defaults for region. Again, my data set is email personalization version 1. I want to make sure that I'm able to identify which user. And then because this is the region parameter, I want to be able to default to region values. I'm going to hit apply, update. And as you can see, my region default parameter value is set as well. Let's go to segments and set up the third parameter, setting up dynamic defaults, selecting the data set where your personal preferences are, selecting the username to identify for which user you want to apply the preferences, and then the value, which is segment in case of segment parameter. Okay, so now as you can see, as I was setting up different parameter default values, those values are reflected specifically for that user, and the parameter values changed as well. So even though I didn't change these two parameter values manually, the default values were applied. Now that I've already made the changes, I want to make sure that I publish this dashboard so that all other users other than the admin users can see the personalized content. So I'm going to go ahead and publish the dashboard. I'm going to click on summary and I'll hit publish dashboard. So with the dashboard published, let's go out and set up the email that we can send out to other users. So I'm on my sales overview dashboard. I will go here, right-hand corner, share, and share email report for this dashboard. This is the email setup scheduling screen. So when you come here, you can schedule your reports once a day, a week, a month. I will select send once only. You can update the report title if you want. You can update the subject line. You can add some personalized email content that you want to go out with this email. You have two options to send the email content, either as an email body or PDF attachment. In this case, I will select the email body option. Also, if you want, you can send email to all the users that have access to the dashboard. Once I do that, you will see a confirmation, and you notice that how all the users were selected for which the email content will be sent out. So instead of sending the content to everyone, I want to just send the content to John and Christy. So I'm going to select John and Christy, and I'm going to send out a report now. So as I hit on the send button, the report has been sent out. Now, it will take about a minute or so for the emails to show up in my inbox. While the email is there, I will try to log in as John to see if my preferences have been changed when I log into the dashboard. So as you can see here, I logged in as a user John. And when John logged in, the dashboard already has his personal preferences applied for America's enterprise segment. He still has access to all the segments and all the regions. So email personalization content, not only shows the content as per your preference, but it also respects the security that you have applied on your dashboard and the data set. And if John wants, he can change this and see somebody, SMB segment data for Americas because he has access to that. And the dashboards will change to that. Okay, so let me see if I have already received the email content. Looks like I've already received the email. So I'm going to bring it up to here. So this is the email that was sent out to John. So it greets him. It says, "Hello, John. This is your personalized sales summary for segment Enterprise and region Americas." So this way, John knows that this is his report and he's seeing the data for Americas region for Enterprise segment. And then let's look at the email that I received for Christy. And this is Christy's email that she received. "Hello, Christy. This is your personalized sales summary for Asia Pac Japan SMB segment." And you can see their data is just, showing for Asia Pac Japan only. Right. So as you can see, with the help of email personalization content in QuickSight, you can send out data to your end users that will respect the security setup that you have already done as an admin, but will also support the personal preferences for each of those users um, that they have given you for accessing the data.